How much should you pay for your next home? What price should you pay for your next condo, house, two-family, multifamily, co-op? Well, I like getting a good deal just as much as the next person. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to get the best price for the best value while keeping you out of trouble from bad deals. If this interests you, no matter whatever market you're in, we're going to cover it. If this interests you, stay tuned. Hi, my name is Chandler. I'm your local real estate agent here in Queens, New York and surrounding areas. Here to bring you all the latest on everything real estate and investing. Welcome to my channel. So you're in the market to buy a property, or you're going to be buying a property pretty soon. You want to make sure, of course, that you get a good deal. Question is, how much a good deal is actually a good deal? It may be possible that you're looking at properties, say, let's just throw out random numbers. Let's pick a small number. Let's say $400,000. $400,000 is how much you qualify for, how much you can afford to buy a property for. And the average price of a property is, say, somewhere around $678,000. Ballpark, Queens, New York. And you're like, shoot, well, I don't have that. I know, let me just look for a property that's way below market value and I'll just buy that. I'll get a great deal. I'll get a lot of equity automatically in the property, save a lot of money, and be rich in no time and have my dream home. Well, let's talk about that. Of course, we want the perfect property. Sometimes we want something a little bigger than what we can afford, or we want to save money because we want to get lots of properties. We're an investor and we want to build our empire, you know. We want to get properties in multiple locations and have a place where we can vacation, somewhere we can live. So we want to get the best deal for a multitude of reasons. And the thing is, when you try to get a deal that's too good, you end up running into a lot of problems. And let me tell you what you're going to be competing with. So you have your flippers, your wholesalers, these are your short sales. Now, sometimes your flippers are actually adding value to the community. They're very valuable assets in the real estate market because they'll turn a home that's inhabitable into a habitable property. And this is good because it provides homes for people that, you know, wouldn't have them. The more homes they rehabilitate, the more properties are available on the market, and that decreases the price of homes and makes it more affordable. So that's great. You know, some flippers can be heroes in that sense. In other cases, though, unfortunately, not everybody plays the game clean. And these flippers will just get into a property for a very, very cheap price. The property has all kinds of problems, foundation issues, ready to crumble, or it's got cracks and it's unsafe. They don't do all their checks and they just make it look presentable. So these kind of homes, they want to get them sold quickly before anything like goes seriously bad. Like when you're buying a car, you're like, okay, let me get this cheap car, let me just fix this little thing and sell it before the whole thing breaks down. You know, as long as it's drivable, someone will buy it. Just like the house, as long as it looks good, someone will buy it. And you don't want to be that person. And one way you can avoid getting a house that's going to be really bad for you is make sure that it's a little closer to that market value price. And we're going to talk about the market value price a little bit more in detail a bit later, but this is one of the reasons why you want to stay away from homes that are way too underpriced. Another reason is that you have your REO, which is real estate owned foreclosures. With a lot of these properties, the bank already owns them Therefore, it's considered private property, and you're not even, as a buyer, a regular buyer, you're not even allowed to go onto the property. A lot of times these properties are sold online. You just have to look at the pictures or videos, if they have videos or pictures, and use your best judgment. Would you like to buy a car that way? Yeah, just use your best judgment. Looks good. Can I go inside and test drive? Nah, you don't need to test drive. Why would you test drive a car that you're gonna own? So kind of the same thing with those foreclosures. And another thing with the foreclosures is that most of the time, people are, they're getting forced out of their home. They've lived here for maybe 5 to 10 years, and I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be happy about getting kicked out of my home. That nice toilet that I got put in there, or that beautiful sink addition that I put in there, I'd probably rip all that out because the bank's taking my money, they're taking my property. I'm gonna file for bankruptcy anyways. I'm taking everything I can. So a lot of times with these homes that you can't see, remember, before you go inside, some you can, but some you can't. It just depends. But for a lot of these homes, you're gonna go inside and find a lot of stuff ripped out, messed up. You're not gonna wanna deal with that. And sometimes it can cause foundation issues, which is the worst. Another problem you're gonna run into with, we'll call them cheapskate price homes, is you're gonna be buying someone else's problems. So if the house is selling for this low, it's gonna be selling that low for a reason. Why would you sell a house for $400,000 when you can sell it for $650,000? Obviously the person wants to get rid of it. This can be because tenants are already living in the property. If you're buying, say, a rental property or a multifamily property or even a condo, tenants can already be living in there. You don't know how these tenants are. Maybe these tenants have drove the landlord crazy to the point where they just want to get rid of it. They can be sitters or not abiding by the law. You don't know. That's something you're going to have to really look into. And most likely, by the time you figure out what's going on, some flipper is going to already go in there and buy the property, and then it's going to be his problem. You don't want those problems. And with other people's problems, I mean, we're talking tenants, but there can also be all kinds of other contingencies that you're just going to want to avoid. Another trap that people might get into when they're looking for a property and they're trying to find the best deal is because when you're trying to find the best deal, it's because you don't have enough money to comfortably buy, say, that $650,000 property in the first place. And so you're gonna go for as much as you possibly can because you only can afford a $400,000 property, and you want a single family property for this example. And the problematic thing about that is that, shoot, you're gonna be house poor. I mean, you think you're balling right now with all this money? As soon as you buy this property, you're gonna be spending all your money on the property because you're buying as much as you can possibly afford. And on top of that, hope you don't have problems because you got a cheapskate deal. And most of the time too, when you're buying a property at the brink of what you can afford, you're gonna be financing. And this is another thing you're gonna be competing with. You're gonna be competing with investors and flippers who are ready to buy these properties with cash. And that cash is gonna motivate the seller to sell it faster to them. You're gonna be looking at a property, it's gonna be that cheapskate price, it's gonna look very attractive to you. You're gonna be doing your research to find out what's wrong with it, and then the next thing you know, somebody with cash is gonna be buying that property while you're waiting for your loan to get approved. Speaking of investors, like I said, a lot of them are very good, but at the same time, some of them are crooks, and they're attracted to these types of properties. The way that they find these deals are that they will constantly be calling people, homeowners that are in distressed properties. Maybe they're having a failed marriage, they need to sell their property quickly, or they're filing for bankruptcy, they can't make their payments anymore. And they'll call those places and they'll say, "Oh, I work with the bank. I'm gonna help you sell your house. I'm gonna help you make some money so you can get out of this situation quickly." And then the next thing you know, they're convincing these homeowners to sell their properties for pennies. And then you're competing with these crooks. delicious. All right, well, let's talk about some solutions. We got to talk about solutions, got to solve the problem. So, the first thing is that might not want to hear this, but you're possibly in the wrong market. If, for example, you want to buy a place in the city, in the central city of the location you're looking at, a good solution will be to look on the outskirts of that city or a little bit further away if you want to keep that kind of property. Now, if you really want to find a good deal, you're going to want to look for about 10 to 20% below the average market value of the property. So for example, if you're looking in an area where your type of property is around $650,000, you're going to take your calculator and you're going to take 650,000 times 0.8. That'll give you about a 20% discount. I'd say that's about the best that you want to be looking around. Once you start getting much cheaper than that, say around 30, you're getting into the danger territory where there's a lot more likely for problems to arise. But 30 is still quite possible. I've seen it happen, firsthand experience, but it could take some time. Just remember this rule that I'm sure you've heard before. If it's too good to be true, probably is. If you don't want to look outside that city and you're determined to stay inside the specific area that you're looking, instead of the multifamily, you might want to try a single family. Instead of a single family, you might want to try a condo. Those are going to be a lot more affordable. Once you buy those properties, by the way, you won't be as house poor. You'll be able to save up, put your money in investments. You'll have extra money on the side. At the same time, you're going to be building equity in this property. And in a year or two, 3, however it takes, shouldn't take too much longer, you'll be able to save up and buy that dream home that you've been looking for. But Chris, I said I wanted single families, so don't want to look at condos. I want to look at single families. Oh, I downgrade. All right, I know what you're thinking. I'm not gonna say it, but I know what you're thinking. So another solution, if you don't want to downgrade what kind of property you're getting right now, you're gonna have to increase your buying power. Now, if you have a W-2 job, that's great. Lenders love saying W-2 jobs because they show consistent paychecks. Who doesn't love consistent paycheck? Like, did you know that if you are even just straight out of college and you land a W-2 job, like the day after you graduate, a lender is gonna look at that and be like, oh, looks like let's just judge him off of 2 years of consistent working. And whatever his W-2 job pay is estimated for the year, we'll just qualify him on his loan or her loan based off of that. Whereas with independent contractors or self-employed individuals, here's how lenders are going to look at you all. So they're going to take the last 2 years of your income, and if you made less money the second year, they're going to use that amount. If you made more money the second year, they're going to use that amount too. Just kidding, they're not going to use that amount. They're going to take an average of both years. So pretty much, you're getting screwed either way. Another way to increase your buying power is you're going to want to increase your income. How are you going to do this? You can either ask your boss for a raise or say, I'm out of here, quit. No, seriously, quit. Statistically, this amount of percentage of people who get a different job end up making more money because most likely you're not going to choose to quit that job to get a job that pays less. Another great way to increase your buying power is to increase your credit score. And I can go on a whole nother video about this, but the key basic takeaways are you're going to want to get a credit card, use your credit card, treat it like a debit card. Don't be spending all this money that you don't have. Whatever is in your checking account or in your bank account, how much money you have, you can afford to spend that amount of money so you don't go into debt and defeat the whole purpose and never get a place. Where was I? Make your payments on time, Stay under 30% of your spending limit. And if you don't trust yourself with a credit card, maybe you shouldn't be buying a house, but you can get a debit card that to the lending institutions works like a credit card. Therefore, it'll force you to only be able to spend what you have in your account, but it'll be building your credit at the same time. Look into it. Credit cards are the most simple way to increase your credit score, but there's also other ways. Mostly any other kind of debts that you have, like car payments or housing payments if you're looking to buy a second property. All right, so now let's say you have your buying power, you're looking at the right types of properties that you can afford comfortably, and you're in the right area that you can afford. Let's talk about some tips on how to make a good purchase below market value, get to saving some money. One great indicator to look out for when looking for a property is making sure that the seller is using a real estate agent. They don't have to, but 99% of the time you can be confident that this property and the seller, they have all their ducks in a row. There's going to be a lot less of a chance that you're going to be deceived by anything foundationally wrong with the property. If you're not using a real estate agent yourself to represent you, the other real estate agent might be able to wipe the floor with you. But other than that, at least you won't be getting completely screwed. And you can be almost certain that the price of the property is going to be fair market value for you to pay for. So if you want to negotiate down from that price, then you can do so comfortably. Another tip, as I mentioned earlier in this video, is that you want to look for properties that are priced around 10 to 20% below the current market value. And these properties most likely will be just hitting the market, because the ones that are good deals and below that market value, they're probably going to be scooped up very fast. So you want to be checking, I'd say, at least 2 to 3 times a day when you're looking for a property below market value. When the price gets to about 40 or 50% of what your fair market value is, that's when your alarm should be going off saying, okay, this is probably going to have a lot of problems. Gonna actually just be best to avoid those types of properties. But if you just can't help yourself, you see a deal, it looks half off, first of all, don't say I didn't warn you. And second of all, just make sure you do your research, get a deep inspection, pay decent money for that inspection. If you're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the price of the property, at least spend some money getting a good inspection, check out the neighborhood, and check for any contingencies that might be on that property. Another tip is to make sure that you're pre-approved for your loan. Not pre-qualified, but pre-approved. Once you're pre-approved, you'll be able to know exactly how much buying power you have, exactly how much you can afford, and you're not gonna have any surprises once you find your dream property and you won't have to worry about them telling you, well, actually you can't afford this. Also, a lot of times sellers, they won't even consider you unless you're pre-approved. Being pre-approved shows that you're serious. Last but not least, and I'm not just saying this because I am one, but use a real estate agent. Not only are they knowledgeable and experienced in the field of real estate, but they also have a fiduciary duty to the buyer that they're representing, which means that by law, like legally, they have to have your best interest in mind, which means they're gonna keep you away from possible headaches. They're gonna help you find the best deal for the best price. They're gonna have contacts with other agents and sellers. And most importantly, it's free for buyers. A lot of people don't know, you don't actually have to pay a real estate agent. No money comes out of your pocket when you're a buyer, with the exception that in some cases, the seller will actually give the buyer money to give to the agent. But at the end of the day, it's the seller that pays for the real estate agent. So if you're looking for a property, you don't have to do it alone. A real estate agent can have your back, and it can be one of the best simple and free decisions. It'll be the best free money you ever spent. So basically, they'll make sure that you're making every right move every step of the way from point 1 to point Z. And once you actually do find your property, You won't have to sit and stew about, did I make the right decision? Could I have gotten a better deal? You're going to be working with a real estate professional who's going to have your back. So you have nothing to lose that route. And that about wraps up this video. If anyone has anything else that I missed or anything they'd like to add, please feel free to leave a comment down below. The whole purpose of why I started this channel is to make real estate a more comfortable place for everyone. There are many great opportunities out there in the real estate world, and the more we can all educate ourselves, the less scary it'll all be, and the closer we can all get to our overall dream. Boom! So I'll leave you with that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your input. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this information helpful. And until next time, stay fit, stay focused, stay fun. Oh, you're still here? Well, hey, I guess if you still want to hang around and chat, I'm going to leave my contact information at the end of the video. Feel free to contact me anytime if you have any questions. And I look forward to speaking with you soon.